What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Triple H podcast. Happy Hour Hoops presented by Trainwreck Sports. Just Jake and myself today. A little OG Happy Hour Hoops lineup for you. And SGA is the NBA MVP. He did it. All the Jokic voters out there, all the Jokic stands. You'll have to stand down for this one because SGA is holding the MVP trophy. Whether Jake and myself agree with it or not, it just happens to be true. Jake, just let's get right into it. Initial thoughts on SGA winning the MVP. I feel like we kind of knew this was going to happen. I was still holding out hope for Jokic, and the voters came through, but obviously we have SGA MVP.
Yeah, not surprised at all. So I guess they were waiting for here. I gotta fix my thing. Oh no, I'm actually good here. They were waiting for what? For him to be clear of Jokic in the playoffs. Like what was the deal of them waiting for so long to announce this? Because if you saw, I saw a tweet the other day that was like basically the dates that they announced the MVP, and it's at least 12 days later than the latest date before. So I don't know if that's like a thing to avoid the backlash. They did it to avoid announcing it during the series to piss off Jokic. I don't know. I don't like it though, honestly. And it goes into the theme that I'm going to go into today of what I'm seeing around the association and the media sphere and everything. But listen, SGA, all he had to do was basically replicate what he did last year, and he was getting this MVP no matter what anybody did. Honestly, in my opinion, he's been great. This is the issue with this for me, Dunny, because I used and I still I used to really love Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, like love watching him play. And I feel like when we first started this podcast, we were very high on Shea as a guy. We loved him, just loved his potential, loved him as a piece for the future. Did we? I don't think either of us ever saw him being the MVP of the league, but I think it's a guy that we both shared, optimism for to be a good player, maybe a star, maybe an all-star in this league and everything else. So I want to be happy for him, right? Like I just want to sit here and be happy, but I'm not happy about it today. And it has nothing to do with him, honestly, because he's been awesome. And you can say whatever you want about that team, and they are loaded. And maybe he does get more calls than the average player. Maybe he does foul bait a little bit. We can get into that a little bit too later on, because I do have some thoughts on that. But the biggest issue for me is that Nikola Jokic is still the best player in the world. And there's two MVPs that we're going to look back on in NBA history and be like, those should have been Jokic's. I truly believe that's how we'll feel. Much like we look at MVPs for LeBron and further back for Kobe, those two Nash years. Like there's so many spots where we look and we're like, how did Karl Malone, like, it's like, how did these things, like, why did you guys decide to do that? Was it really worth it? Was it worth it because you were bored to do something like that? Because that's why they're doing it. And that's the issue I have, is that it's doing it. It's naming the MVP because you want to do something different. That's what they did with Embiid a couple years ago. Did Embiid and SGA both have incredible MVP worthy seasons? Oh, absolutely. But y'all can't tell me you don't watch basketball. If you watch basketball 82 games a year and tell me Nikola Jokic isn't the best player in the world and wasn't the best player in the world this year, I don't know what sport we're watching. That's where I'm at. Like this was clear and dry to me, but the narrative was so strong before it could even be stopped. The narrative had started for SGA, and I think that's what happened. It was a runaway train. The only thing the Nuggets could have done is be like win 60 games themselves. I honestly think, and I don't think that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'll start with saying that SGA super impressive season. Like I agree with you. Definitely an MVP type season. It's just tough when we watched Jokic all this year. We saw the 60-point triple double. We saw the team that he, dragged to the playoffs was half away from making it to the Western Conference Finals with a bum MPJ, and I don't mean he's a bum. I mean he was not the full version of himself. He was injured, and just a pretty lackluster supporting cast to put it bluntly. So it was an incredible season from Jokic. I understand the votes to some degree with SGA, but as the season went on, it was just like I don't know how you couldn't be voting for Jokic if you have a vote in this thing. Um, but yeah, I mean they had the best team all year. They they were leaps and bounds above everyone defensively, and he was kind of the leader on both ends. You know, it's not like SGA is a slouch defensively. He's very good defensively. He's one of the best scorers I think we've seen in a long time in this league, and it kind of made sense. It was just the Thunder's year. I think the voters just put the trophy in the hands of the guy who is leading the best team in the league, and that's kind of what happened here with SGA. But it's funny because, and we can segue right into OKC Minnesota here. But
Yeah.
the first thing I put for OKC Minnesota is Shea has the NBA world by the balls right now, and that was before the news even come out that he had won MVP, because I mean, you know, whether it's the Thunder fans or SGA fans alike going crazy for this dude, or it's the all the people complaining about the fouls and him going to the free throw line and him living at the free throw line. And I think I saw Jamal Crawford say this on a podcast today, but if you took away SGA's free throw points, he still would have led the league in scoring, like towards his average. So, I mean, yeah,
He
we can
was
complain.
so far ahead on the average. I mean, it's not like it was
Yeah,
close on the scoring average.
right. And like also I think that's something that can be separated. Like it's a good thing to
It's
put
true.
stuff into perspective, but that doesn't mean that, you know, the fouling can't be out of control some games. And I think last night was one of those games. And I think people have a fair gripe to be pissed, but let's call a spade a spade. The Timberwolves just didn't show up last night. And I think, you know, if SGA had made a bunch of trips to the free throw line or not, Minnesota was probably losing that game. They shot horribly from three. They didn't get anything from their bench. Ant didn't really show up. He also had an ankle injury. Came out of the game, came back in. So it's just crazy the discussion or the just everything that's going on with SGA. The hate, the love for him. He wins MVP the same day that people are going crazy about his free throw attempts. But this is the NBA. I mean, we see it now. We're about to have our seventh different championship winner in seven different years. What's the stat for the NBA
Yeah, I think that's
champions?
it. No, I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
and so you know the parity is alive and well in the NBA. It not only does it come team by team basis, but also player by player. And SGA, he's the talk of the town, negative or positive, but he's here.
Yeah, man. It was last night was interesting because you saw how that first half played out, and I'd missed. I was doing Pay the Bills podcast, so I missed the first quarter, and then I had to go run errands, so I only listened to the first half, really, like most of it, and I listened to a great radio call. I can't remember. If you remember the ESPN radio guy's name, let me know if you could look that up or something quick. PJ Carlissimo is the guy, but those two are like just they're amazing to listen to call a basketball game. Like it feels like I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything with how descriptive and how good they are. But that's just a quick aside. I just wanted to shout them out, keeping that up. But I'm sitting there settling in for the second half, man. And you look at you think about that first half, and Minnesota, at least defensively, it was perfect. It was perfection. Everything they were doing, they're affecting Shea. Nothing easy's happening, and they're only up by what? What was it? A 4-point game at half, 3-point game, something like that. I
Yeah,
don't
it was
remember what it was.
close.
It was close, and you're thinking like in that moment, like shit, bro. You guys got this first half went perfect, and you're only up 4. Like it was one of those situations where they had to be
Mm-hmm.
up 20 by playing that well. And so I immediately thought, and I'm sure you had the same thought, that we were just going to get what OKC has done literally all year long and just smother a team in the second half. And that's exactly what they did. And that defense is just, I don't know, man. It's one of the best defensive teams I've like ever watched, honestly, at this level of basketball. Like at this point, we're in the conference finals. And the team that can do that too, and it's not like Minnesota is this offensive juggernaut or anything, but it looked like Minnesota was not an NBA team in the second half sometimes.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't even get into sets. Like they're not even getting into actions because OKC is just on your ass. That havoc defense, and it's just I don't know what your counter is if you're Minnesota. The counter, I guess, is Anthony Edwards has to be like superhuman, and he's hurting, man, and it sucks to see, but he's limping around out there. Whatever whatever his ailments are. I don't remember what he's actually reported with. It might what are the did they say hamstring or back or something?
He rolled his ankle last night.
I know, but I thought they were mentioned something with his back earlier in the playoffs as well. I know. I remember.
Yeah.
And that's what I was gonna mention. He hits his ankle and he's down on the floor, and it's just like the guy is just a warrior. But you can't expect him, I don't think, at this point to put up like a 50-point performance for them, like flying around and doing stuff. So I don't know. The path is really narrow for Minnesota, don't you think? Like to actually have a chance in the series.
Oh yeah. And yeah, I mean the points about OKC's defense, like as good as SGA is, he won the MVP today. And I mean they're just a superb team in general, so give all the teammates credit too, but their defense is just unbelievable, man. It's so disruptive is really the best word for it because I think there's, great defensive teams around the league. There's teams that have great defensive players. This is just a all out great defensive unit. Like they just wreak havoc, man. They make other teams uncomfortable, and that's when they're most comfortable because that's when the turnovers start coming. That's when they can get out in transition. That's when they can turn their defense into offense. And the Thunder are just so damn good at that. And it really starts with Caruso. Like Caruso is probably one of the most underrated players in the league. And I think he was kind of hiding in Chicago the last, 3-4 years. And now he has a chance to shine with this OKC team. And I mean, everyone just defends up and down this roster. Like Dort's all world defender. SGA is no slouch. We talked about it. Chet and Hartenstein are great at what they do. Caruso is awesome. All their smaller guards, like Cason Wallace is great. Wiggins is great. Isaiah Joe is not bad defensively. So Thunder is just they just seem like they're here, and I don't want to overreact after one game, but I think Minnesota should be as not scared, but I think OKC probably put some fear in Minnesota last night.
Yeah.
And the points about Ant is interesting because even before the rolled ankle, like I don't know, at least compared to other superstars around the league, like Ant isn't a guy who loves to have the ball all the time as far as like bringing the ball up the court and kind of starting with the ball. Like this isn't a usage thing, but as far as like being comfortable bringing the ball up and being like the point guard, I know the NBA is kind of positionless now, but like Ant kind of has the luxury of Mike Conley being on the court and he can kind of defer to him with that stuff, but he really looks uncomfortable at moments like that, and you can't really be uncomfortable in moments like that against this OKC team. And then obviously the rolled ankle just makes that all 10x. So they're in a real tough spot. I mean, Randall led them last night. I don't think that's going to be the recipe to beat this OKC team. And then we kind of saw Rudy Gobert go back to, hey, I'm Rudy Gobert. It's the playoffs. I'm really not all that playable.
Well, and what worries me too about just Minnesota, like it can be so simple, is the fact that, listen, they were bigger than the Lakers, and so they just dominated them, and then Steph got hurt, and maybe they just got lucky. Like I hate to not give credit to them for winning the games they needed to win, and beating the Lakers was not just like no one expected them to win that series in 5 as easily as it was. But once the game started playing, it was like, I don't know what LA is really going to be able to pivot out of here in this series. Like it was really in hindsight, the perfect setup for Minnesota to get to this point. And it worried me. I mentioned it in my previewing this in a couple of tweets yesterday. It worried me that they had not played like playoff basketball yet. And it was the same thing I talked about with the Cavs in the last series as well. Just like when you haven't played that high intensity, and I don't think that happened. I think they came out and played with great defensive intensity and were ready for the moment yesterday. But they didn't They didn't have any answers though, and it felt like a team that it felt like that for end of that first half, like the end of that game one, end of that second half. It felt like it was over, like you said, or like it felt to me like I really just like I don't see the adjustment unless like Nas Reed all of a sudden turns into a superstar, or like somebody has to do something that is completely out of left field for Minnesota to have a chance, just because OKC defensively is just it's so hard to bro. You have to work so hard to get a good shot, like a good look
Right.
against them. So it's tough.
And I like that you bring up the Lakers series in general, but also the game one of that series was the complete opposite of what we saw in Oklahoma City last night. Because game one against the Lakers, when everyone was kind of shocked by the Timberwolves and they kind of shocked the world, Nas Reed, McDaniels, rest of the bench guys, DiVincenzo, like everyone was hitting from three that game.
Yep.
They couldn't hit shit last night. Um, like, Nas Reed, 4 points. Nikhil Alexander Walker, who's SGA's cousin, if people weren't informed, it had 8 points. Jaden
I had no
McDaniels,
idea. That's
actually,
wild to me. I really had no idea. Now Alexander Walker, gilgeous-alexander, that makes sense. And they're like the same like build. Like I always
yeah.
like picked up like I
I
would
thought you
pick
were
up.
being facetious because they've
No,
been like
no, I
leading
really
up
had
to
no
the series.
idea. And now
Everyone's been
that I'm
talking
like,
about it.
I always thought they were kind of similar players, like similar vibes, and now it kind of all makes sense. All right,
Yeah,
here we go.
cousins. Um, but yeah, like they just didn't have contributions. I mean, it's not like we can even really say other than Randall and Ant. It was kind of just other than Randall. Connolly, 7 points. I know you're not expecting a lot of scoring from Connolly, but I think their bench shot 3 of 28 from three. So you probably don't want your bench putting up 28 threes as is. And if they're only going to hit three of them, you definitely don't want that. So, I mean, just obviously not the Timberwolves night. And it's funny because the very beginning of the game, I believe Ant hit his first two. I don't know if it was his first two shots, but his first two jump shots I know went in. I think one was a three and one was a mid range. And I was like, oh shit, Ant looks locked in. And I was like, yeah, damn, this might be a long series for the Thunder. And then their defense just did that thing where halfway through the game they're like, fuck this, let's not let the other team score. Um,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that's a bit of what we saw. So kind of feels like the Thunder's year. Kind of has since they won 68 games. They have the MVP. Did last night change your feelings about this series and like where are you at now?
This series, it didn't change anything for me. I still think Minnesota will get a game. I think they'll get one at home just from pure will of Anthony Edwards, and they'll hit some shots, and maybe OKC doesn't hit a bunch. Maybe OKC goes cold. I think perfect, storm is how they can win one game. This is
Mm-hmm.
OKC in 5, though. That's how I feel.
All right. Yeah, I think it's OKC in 5 or 6 here. I really wish Ant didn't roll the ankle. Like I hope we have a few just crazy games where SGA and Ant are battling down the stretch. But it's tough, and it's also tough to ask that of Ant when you actually do look at this OKC roster and you're like, oh shit. And going back to the SGA Jokic discussion, that's kind of why it makes Jokic's not only regular season run but his run in the playoffs that much more impressive because Jokic
Yeah,
was
man.
playing with a bunch of dudes who were banged up beside him and didn't really have a lot of depth around him regardless, and he went toe to toe with this team. So yeah, I like OKC. It just every day that passes, it just feels more and more like the Thunder's year. SGA won the MVP today, so that'd be crazy if he can add a ring to that. But obviously, a lot of basketball left to be played in this series, and then the other series, which we have tonight, just a few hours from now, Knicks Pacers. It's the city of Bing Bong versus the city of the most overrated player in the league. Um, we have Reggie versus Spike, Pat McAfee, Stephen A, Indy versus New York.
The
I don't
Pat
know if we
McAfee
talked.
Stephen A angle is underrated. Never even thought about that one.
Yeah,
That's a good
and
one.
apparently they don't like each other, but that's
Too bad it's a TNT series.
Yeah, that is too bad.
Oh, Dunny, you're muted. Dunny, you might have unplugged. This is live troubleshooting. It sounded like you unplugged. It sounded like are you back? You're back.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're back.
All right, cool. Yeah, I assume Stephen A will be at all the games because ESPN is not calling them, but should be great either way. Obviously, last time we recorded, Boston was still in the mix. Unfortunately, they
Yeah.
are no longer. So before we preview tonight and the rest of the series,
Oh,
who
you
do you
got some
like?
thoughts? Oh, okay. I thought you had some Celtics thoughts. That's where you were going
No,
with
no, no,
that.
no, no.
Okay. Just tonight then, or the rest of the
Yeah, or
series?
who do you got in the series?
Okay. This series is, I think it's gonna be a war, bro. Honestly, I think it's gonna be a war. But I think Zach Zarba is the referee tonight, and I know that because I looked for it this morning. Because I think Indiana, unfortunately, is playing two teams this whole series, and whether the league can tell us, whatever. We know the agenda here, right? Like we know what the agenda is. My dad has already penciled it in. OKC Knicks is going to be a fun final series. I think the Pacers
Wow.
are just as good, if not a better team than the Knicks. Truthfully, I mean, I think this is a pretty even matchup across the board. I think the Pacers have the best player in the series, not the most overrated player. I think they have the
Ooh.
best player in the series. And when you have the best player in the series, you get to dictate the terms usually. Now, having Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby on you all series is a much different challenge than having couldn't even tell you what Cap tried to guard Tyrese Halliburton because none of them did. It's going to be a bigger challenge, a bigger type of ask of him to be as efficient offensively and be as effective as he is. That's not a team that's afraid to go into MSG though. Like, do you think the Pacers give a shit that they're going into MSG for game one tonight?
No, not at
Absolutely not.
all.
They're excited, honestly. Like if I know anything about the Pacers, because I feel like I got to experience the Pacers like you, and you got to beat them. I got to take a fat L to them, but I don't hate the Pacers. I respect the fuck out of the Pacers now. I still hate the New York Knicks. So I am very biased in where I'm coming from in this series. Don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to talk about it objectively. But I just think when you look at this top to bottom roster, like, yeah, maybe the Knicks have more. The Knicks, they're the Knicks, and they have a flashier team, and they have just MSG behind them. And the big trade for Bridges is a big deal, and the big trade for Towns is a huge thing. Bro, would you rather Miles Turner or Karl Anthony Towns in a playoff game at this point? I'm serious. Like it's not. It's name recognition versus fucking watch on the court. And I think this
These
Indiana team
these
matches.
playoffs, it's a very fair question.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
do
I'm
think it's
saying,
I think it's a little disrespectful to Cat, but I see your angle.
oh, I don't think anything's disrespectful to Cat. So that's fine by me if you think
And
that.
he wore a
I will
fuck
disrespect
Boston
Cat any
shirt to a
day.
Mets game the other day, so or a Yankees game, wherever it was. So
Whatever.
I
Yeah.
shouldn't even be saying that, but
Yeah. But and that's again, I will admit all my biases on this show. I've never been a fan of Karl Anthony Towns. I don't think he's going to come through for them in this series. It's a big reason why I think that this team is not going to make the NBA Finals because I think the Pacers are going to win the series in 7. I wasn't going to get to that point, but I just started saying it, so I figured I would finish it. How are you
no,
feeling?
I like it. I actually really like that. And I'm gonna backtrack what I said a little bit.
AJ's got 6. He's feeling even spicier than me today.
Wow.
Okay.
I'll actually backtrack me trying to cool down your take because I did say it's a little disrespectful to Cat, but if we're being fair, this is really the first playoffs that Cat has ever showed up. And Turner, where he's not been, the same level of star as Cat, he's never been, a zero in the playoffs. And these playoffs for the Pacers, Turner's actually been unbelievable. So I don't think I don't think it's as crazy as a take as maybe I let off there. But
it is a pretty
I
crazy take because Miles Turner has been like not good in the playoffs in the past. Like
Right.
that's like it
Like it's
is, but
not
like
bad, but also like not good. So
yeah, like it's not like he's like been a baller and everything like that. He's had his issues, so I get where you're coming from with it. You're not. You had every right to be like, whoa. Let's not get crazy here.
but I too like Pacers in 7. Uh
Woo!
Mostly because I would not be picking the Knicks here today. And a big reason though is I like how you started it because I don't think many people would agree that you think Indiana has the best player. But where I do think you can get people behind you is that you said Indiana has the best team. And I believe that. I believe Indiana is a better team than the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks have Brunson, who I think is the best player in the series, but that always doesn't matter. And they showed it last series against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Indiana doesn't care who they're going up against. They're going to play their brand of basketball, and their brand of basketball is tough, man. Like, you talk about OG and McHale. Those guys are going to have to, as much as they're going to be chasing around Halliburton, you also got to deal with a guy like Pascal. The Pacers also have guys like Nemhard and Matherin who are just annoying as shit for other teams. Neesmith, you can add him to that
Oh,
list too. So I just think New York is going to have their work cut out for them. It's going to be a different speed than Boston. It's going to be a different energy level than Boston, unfortunately. And if we're talking about game ones on the road, Indiana
they don't give
was was a crazy double clutch corner 3 shot away from beating Boston at home
yeah.
just a year
Oh,
ago.
that's right. I forgot all about that. Yeah.
In this same spot. They were game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals on the road, went into Boston, went to overtime and lost, but it was really because of an insane double bang shot, Mike Breen,
Forgot him.
Jaylen Brown
Man.
corner 3. So, I mean, Indiana's no stranger to this situation. I like it too. I think Indiana steals tonight and kind of puts some water on the Knicks flames that have been rising the last week or so.
Well, our guy Donnie is with us. He's got Pacers in 7 as well. This is starting to scare me a little bit because all
I
4
know.
of us are in, except my dad. Pops is in on the Knicks, but he just wants the Knicks to get there to then see them get their soul crushed in the NBA Finals. He has evil motives for that. I know where you're coming from there. And AJ's with me on Cat here. Cat is soft. He'll get too foul happy. If he knocks down the 3 ball, that would change things. He has to be able to do that in the playoffs. That's my issue with Cat to begin with, AJ, is that he's 7 foot, and we have to say if he knocks down the 3 ball, it's a good thing because he can't just go down low and get a bucket on Miles Turner. Or it's not that he can't even. It's that he doesn't want to. It's that he Cat is like I was talking about, not to bring the Cat. See, he knew I know him. I know my dad well. I knew exactly what he was angling for there. I was talking about this with Donovan Mitchell yesterday because Donovan Mitchell, I said if Donovan Mitchell was 3 inches taller, he'd be the greatest basketball player of all time. And I don't actually believe that, but I kind of think part of it is true. But what Donovan Mitchell is when Donovan Mitchell is on a hot streak, he is the most locked in player, probably maybe in the NBA right now. Like when Mitchell's on, you see it on his face. You can see him like that he's in that zone, and then he just doesn't miss and do anything. Cat's the opposite. Cat gets into stretches where you can see Cat's face, and he's the biggest like dumbass on the court. Cat's gonna foul somebody back-to-back possessions. He's gonna chuck up a 45-foot 3 for no reason. He's gonna pass into a double team out of a matchup on a guard. Like this is what Cat does. And it's because he's not mentally strong. And I'm not trying to call the dude out like he's saying he's some what's the word? I'm like head case or something. But that's not a guy I would want to go to war with if he was on my team. I wouldn't feel confident in Karl Anthony Towns on my team. If he was a Cleveland Cavalier, I wouldn't be like, fuck yeah, we're going into this series and we got Cat. I'm sorry. That's not me hating. That's just history. Like it is what it is. Yes, sir. Miles Turner will rough him up, and maybe he will. Somebody's gonna rough him up. Someone's taking a shot at Cat. Like Ben Matherin's definitely trying to punch Cat. They're gonna try to get him
Do they just sub in
off
James
his
Johnson,
shit.
the guy who no one
They
wants
might.
to fight in the league, and just have him foul Cat?
Mitchell Robinson does need to shoot free throws well because they are going to send him to the line a lot. They're going to take that's when James Johnson's going to come in to get those fouls on Mitchell
Burn him.
Robinson.
Go
I think
burn
the
him, old
Pacers.
man.
I think both these teams are going to use all their fouls. I expect
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I expect. What's your? There's 48 minutes in a basketball game. What? Let's say over under. Let's just do it right around. Let's say 26 and a half minutes. Over under 26 and a half minutes. The first skirmish that has to be broken up by the referees tonight.
Ooh. I'm gonna say under.
That's what I think. Like, could be like the first quarter. Honestly,
Yeah, it could be for. I mean, and we can get into to the other stuff I have here in the doc. Like,
yeah,
this is two crazy fan bases, just completely different too. Like, Knicks are crazy to the point of like delusion. Indiana is just like crazy for basketball, no matter what it is. Obviously, historic franchise. Both historic franchises both have a historic rivalry. You know, going way back. And I mean, the Knicks fans were fucking throwing not just trash. We're not talking apple cores and bags of chips. Full fucking trash bags. Full hefty trash bags at Pacer. A sole Pacers fan who was just trying to leave.
Now it's that guy. Shout out that guy. I wish he could be on this podcast today and we could just ask him. Like,
do you know where he's going today?
He's in New York City today. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, Halliburton flew him out, bro. Halliburton flew him out and got him tickets to the game.
Baller.
Because he saw the video of this dude getting trash thrown at him. But say what you were gonna say.
No, it was just I just think he's a baller. I just think he deserves the world. Like to go there, to go to that game in the Indiana jersey is just crazy. Like, that's psychotic behavior.
Crazy behavior. I mean, the Knicks fans were fucking throwing trash at Windy, bro. Like, why? What? Come on, they were like,
this is AJ. I've gone back and forth, like, because some people like come up to me and they're like, "Oh, like I'm gonna be so happy for New York, like when they get this done." And I'm like, "Yeah, like there's some people like I'm sure I would be happy for, but mostly I don't want to see them celebrating the Knicks celebrating a fucking title. That'd be the worst thing I could see in my life. Like, guys, you guys don't realize we have to listen to it the rest of our lives too. Like, if they win the title, we got to hear about Jalen Brunson is now Michael Jordan. Like, that's what's gonna happen, guys. Like, the stakes have never been higher, Dunny, when it comes to the New York Knicks. We can't let this happen. Not with this team. Not with this
there was no mistake when I used the word delusional. And like all I could think of is when I see the videos of Knicks fans, like the first thing that comes to my head is like, act like you've been there before, but they haven't. They haven't won in fucking 50 years, and that's why we're seeing this. So part of me, I'm like, yes, go ahead and celebrate. You haven't been to the Eastern Conference Finals in 20 plus years. But then, like, I see the trash videos and them, like, verbally berating Windy. And I'm like, dude, like, this guy's just doing his job, bro. Like, sure, like, he said stuff that all fan bases don't like about their teams.
You have more reason to not give the Knicks any credence than I do, because they would never give Celtics ever. In the flip side, if you guys had won a championship in 50 years and they had won 17, they wouldn't give a fuck if you guys won a championship again.
We would be the Hornets to them.
Yeah, exactly.
If roles were reversed, we would be the Hornets to them.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
I'm not even a huge Brunson
not
guy.
A Jalen Brunson fan, that guy right there, though.
But if it would be...
Let's talk about the foul baiting. Let's talk about
let's do it.
Did SGA foul bait? Was he foul baiting last night? Do you think it was any more egregious than anything he's done this year?
Than Brunson's done?
No, than SGA. I'm talking about SGA first. Then we'll get
just like comparatively to regular season stuff.
Even in the playoffs so far, yeah.
I just think that's his. I think both things can be true. I don't think he exceeded anything that he's done all year, but I think he's been foul baiting all year. And I think Brunson does the same thing. And I think James Harden, when he played for Houston, did the same thing. I just think it's tough. It's like, it's the lame thing to tweet when Brunson or SGA is playing, but it's like unethical hoops is like the only thing I can think of. And it's one thing if you're foul baiting and you get an and one and the crowd gets hyped up and it doesn't kill the flow of the game. But if you are dribbling out the shot clock, then you get to your stuff, you have the matchup you like, you drive, you flop just to get to the free throw line, just to get the 2 points. Like, it's just a tough watch sometimes.
Yep.
And so even, basketball fans who don't have a horse in the race, like, Me, the Celtics are out. I'm watching all these games. I don't really care deep down who wins, but it's still like tough to watch sometimes. You're like, really? We're gonna call that, especially in the playoffs. That's when fans want to see the refs put the whistle away, let the
Yep.
guys play. So do I think SGA should get shit and say that he's a lesser player for this style? No. But is it annoying to watch as a fan sometimes? Yes. And I think Harden was unbelievable at it, pissed people off when Harden did it too. And this is SGA and Brunson's version of it. It's just tough to watch. It was even tougher. Like opposing fans, I feel for you. So Minnesota fans, I feel for you. Indiana fans, I'm sure we'll see it tonight too. So yeah, I think both things can be true. I didn't see anything more egregious last night from SGA than the rest of the season for him. But I do think that at times his game could be a little unethical.
Unethical is a great term that whoever decided to start using that on NBA Twitter, kudos to you, because it is a perfect way to describe it. It's nothing wrong with it. And I think AJ, you need more letters to explain your stance about Brunson. Maybe I'm gonna try to read your mind here because I think we share the same stance. I also think Brunson's really good. I also think SGA is really good. I think foul baiting's smart. I think it's a skill. I think these guys are really good at doing it too. The league has told these guys it's worth doing for years and years and years. They told James Harden it was worth doing. They haven't de-incentivized it in any way, shape, or form because it's really hard to tell. Like they're good at this. What AJ I think is saying Brunson's really good is that is what he's really good at. And because he's small and because he's so compact, he can make he can initiate contact that makes it look like somebody else is making contact. Like if you're a little guy and you run into a big guy, you're probably going to bounce off of them, like just as a normal person. Like there's little ways that they know angles, they understand physics. They like, especially SGA. SGA understands the angles on a basketball court better than like anybody, honestly, I think in the NBA right now. And I don't know how to describe that. Like I'm not a basketball like savant, so I don't know how to describe that more than just like how I see him like turning a corner at such a way that he can that he can slice to the rim and get contact. Brunson is incredible at this. Donovan Mitchell is incredible at this, slicing through like the double teams. And then you have to make contact with them because you're chasing them. Like there are so many little things that these guys do that are put in their game to initiate contact that are not inherently wrong. But when you put it all together in the package of what these guys present on the floor, you're like, I don't feel nice about that. And that's really all it is, right? Like, we just don't feel good about it. We want to watch AI. We want to watch you just get crossed over, fall out of your shoes, and then get a three hit on you. We don't want to see this shit. But this isn't one-on-one basketball. This is a team sport. And if they can get to the line because the team defense is different and everything else, it's you have to take advantage of it. This is AJ. He plays too much iso ball for my liking. I don't think he's great enough to carry the team as a main guy to a title. Well, AJ, we agree because he is under 6'4", and those guys don't usually lead teams to a title. So I think the max they can go is to the finals. This is what it comes down to for me, Dunny, with this Knicks and Pacers series. Do you think that either of these teams could even touch the Thunder if they get there?
No, I now that Boston's out, I mean, I'm pretty sure I've had Boston OKC all year.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, I think OKC beats whoever makes if they make it.
Yeah.
Which we both think is going to happen. But yeah, if we're doing predictions, I think it would be OKC against either of these teams. It's funny. I like that you bring that up about the angles with SGA though, because I do think it's important. And a lot of these fouls that he gets that people get upset about tend to be on and ones. And because what you're saying is absolutely correct, where yes, maybe he's selling the call, but he also knows exactly what he's doing on the shot. He's being deliberate with this stuff. So he's being deliberate with making sure he gets the contact, but also he must practice shots like on one foot, falling
Has
down
to.
basically,
Yep.
because he's really
I
really
bet you
good
he
at it.
has one of those big like pads where he's like doing off angle shots and like jumping onto the floor and shit. Like he
Yeah,
has to be.
I'm sure. And because, if we're going to be transparent and fair here, yes, do I hate watching it sometimes? Of course. But at the same time, he's very, very good at it. And some of the end ones are crazy.
Listen, I don't care, bro. You don't accidentally score 33 points a game in the NBA as a
Exactly. Yeah.
guard. As a guard, like
And,
it's
and
like
that's why you couldn't say shit to Harden either when he was doing it. He was
exactly like
fucking, he was a force. He was one of the best offensive players we've ever seen on those runs in Houston. And he was doing this shit. His tactics were a little different, but it all the same shit.
And Ant-Man, to touch on Ant-Man here, I agree he's struggled, and I think it's a lot because he has to do. This is not a perfect team built around Ant-Man. They need way more offense around him. They need way more creation around him so he can exert the proper energy, cutting to the rim and being just a freak, right? Like not doing so much basketball. You need like this sound counterintuitive, but you need Ant to not do as much basketball stuff on the floor and have him be able to be like freak athlete in some of these sets where he can just be, even if it's as a decoy, him running around doing stuff can open stuff up, but you can't take advantage of that if you can't shoot. This team can't shoot. And so I think Ant-Man just like he has such a burden offensively and he's going to go 135% defensively. He's never not going like full go. And so I think he just burns out. And especially this year it's different than last year's team. And he just doesn't have as much creation next to him. Like that you can't count on. Like Conley is just another year. Like it's just like DiVincenzo is not. He's been sourpuss all year. Like he hasn't even been the same guy this year. Like they haven't had the same production that you would hope around him, and I think it's affected him. But their strength is defense. The reason if Minnesota wins the title, it's because they're a defensive juggernaut. That's why. It's not because it would be because Ant-Man's a star, but it's not going to be because of his offense. It's going to be because of their defense. So it is a weird conundrum for him, but I think it's their fault more than it's his fault.
Yeah, I don't hate that take. More Knicks Pacers here.
Yeah,
I think if we're talking X factors in this series, I think it's a grouping of role players for both teams. So I think what's going to swing this series or decide this series is how well OG and McHale play for the Knicks and how well the trio of Neesmith, Nemhard, and Mathurin play for the Pacers. I think whoever wins that battle of role players might have a pretty good edge in this series because McHale and OG are weird, man. Like we saw them really, really take over some of those games against Boston to help decide those victories. Obviously, McHale in games 1 and 2 had huge defensive plays at the end of regulation. And then OG, just hit some huge shots, played some great defense. And then on the other side, Mathurin, Neesmith, and Nemhard are just awesome. And they make shit difficult for the other team. I think Neesmith is going to be chasing Brunson a lot. I think Nemhard is, Mathurin. And they're just real swing guys as far as energy goes, big shots, just not being afraid of the moment at all. And I think them being in this spot last year is really going to help them. And yeah, people can say whatever they want. They got swept. Like Boston was a fucking machine last year. Who knows what happened in this year's playoffs, but they were a juggernaut. Like in all of those games were close. Like we mentioned, they almost stole game 1. So I think the Pacers will be ready. I'm really watching the role players for both teams. I know we said it, but yeah, I got Pacers in 7, and I'm holding on to that. I wouldn't be surprised either way. Obviously, if I'm calling for a 7-game series, but yeah,
this country will
either
hate or love Ben Mathurin after this series. Like you will, if you are a basketball fan, you will have an opinion on Ben Mathurin, and you're either going to hate him, like absolutely despise him, or you're going to be like, I would die for that man. That's what I anticipate. Ben Mathurin's going to do some grimy shit in this series to the Knicks, and I'm going to enjoy it so much more that I was like, oh, Ben Mathurin was the bane of my existence in the second round. That guy, he knew how to get under people's skin. I mean, DeAndre Hunter went and shoved him straight on the ground, bro. Like I've never seen a player do that like that out. And then he didn't even get kicked out. That's how much bullshit Mathurin was pulling. So I'm excited to see him become the villain of MSG. I think he's gonna try to make himself the villain of MSG. I truly believe that. This is a nice point about Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson was a plus 15, plus 20 multiple games against the Celtics. Can they keep doing that when he's out there? I don't know about in this series. I don't know. I was surprised he could do that against the Celtics. I think that's more the Porzingis issue than anything else, right? Like it was just because who was Robinson wasn't having to like deal with threats in the low block as much as he's going to have to in this series with Siakam and Turner. No offense to Al Horford and Luke Cornett, but it's a different kind of animal. So I don't anticipate him doing that this series.
Yeah.
That's about it. Sorry, Dunny, but that's it.
Yeah, no, you're good. I just saw a ghost there for a minute.
And AJ's calling me the modern day Atlanta Hawks. So we're just having a banner end of the pod here. AJ, I can't. I'm not even mad. I was mad about it all year. I can't. They're better. Actually, they're better. They made the conference finals. So
hey, Horford got double hate somehow there. He got lumped into the.
That's so funny. Somehow Al Horford just got
catching strays. Got lumped into the Cavs
I'm sorry.
and Celtics.
I'm sorry, Al Horford. This is a formal apology to all the Horfords, especially Anna. We did not mean it.
Dude, you do not want to smoke with Anna Horford.
Al, Anna, the Horford, every Horford in the world. I apologize.
Shout out Tito. I met
shout out Tito. Yeah, shout out Tito. Horford apologies for everybody.
Yeah, that's the conference finals, folks. It's probably not the one most of us predicted at the beginning of the year, these 4 teams to be left. But this is what we have. OKC, Minnesota. You really hope, Ant and the guys can bounce back, and that one's a little more competitive. And me and Jake both have Knicks Pacers, which starts tonight, going 7. So it should be all interesting. I know we're about to hop off here. Do you have any closing thoughts on Denver?
Any closing thoughts on Denver?
Or I guess answer this. Do you think much different team next year, or do we see the same trio of MPJ, Murray, and Jokic try to do it again?
Yeah, they run it back. I think they run it back, new coach, and I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the West. Honestly. I think the Warriors are going to slip a little bit. The Lakers, who fucking knows what they look like next year, and who knows what LeBron looks like. The Rockets are going to be up there. The Thunder are going to be up there, and then it's Wolves, Nuggets in my mind. Clippers, I can't anticipate them redoing what they did this year. This was the best possible Clippers year you're going to get. So
we may see the most motivated Jokic we ever have next year.
That's
possible. He's now been robbed of 2 MVPs, and
his coach just fucking flamed him on television last night. His old coach.
Yeah,
that's crazy, bro.
Did you see?
Like, bro, you didn't win a title, but you never would have won a title without that guy. You never would have been. You would have been shit. Tweeted? What did George Karl tweet?
He said Jokic got robbed from the NBA MVP and said, "I guess I'm the only former Nuggets coach that cares about Jokic."
But George Karl last week said he never tweets. It's not him running his Twitter.
Yeah, I mean he's kind of a cuckoo bird too. But
Giannis to San Francisco last year, very possible, but we'll see. It's gonna, if Giannis wants to go, he might do it. And AJ wants some hockey takes from us. I have 2 hockey takes. Quick, we got 2 NHL takes because it's fun to have the conference finals at the same time every year. I fucking hate this playoff format, and we are robbed every year in the Eastern Conference of a great conference finals series because of it. Florida should have been playing anybody else, but Carolina is not meant to be there. So Florida's going to walk to the final. Luckily, the West could be really fun with Dallas and Edmonton, but I'm so tired of this playoff format. Just go to the NBA's format. Just do 1 through 10 and do a play-in. Do the whole 9 yards. It works so much better. That's it.
I like that. We have very conflicting takes then, because I just want the Hurricanes to keep winning games because of our pool, our playoff pool. But I will
be happy if you win. That's it though.
Other take. I did not think I would enjoy Marchand on Florida this much, but if the Bruins are gonna suck, I'm glad that Marchie's still in it and just fucking doing his thing. Because like he's been a legit playoff hero for them. Like this isn't a dude who's just like, yeah, role player making the difference. Like this dude is still putting in some fucking great.
Scored an overtime goal. Like
yeah,
it's crazy.
That is really cool to see. And then otherwise I just kind of
one of my
to make it close, but it doesn't look like it.
It might be tough. One of my best friends is a die-hard Florida Panthers fan. Like he is one of he's was born in Miami, played hockey, is like one of the original Florida Panthers fans, like legit. So I'm always so happy for him. Like this last couple years, like I just become a Panthers fan once it comes to the playoffs because he never thought this was possible. None of us ever thought this was gonna happen. The Florida Panthers could be going to the Stanley Cup again, and the Buffalo Sabres 15 years next year. We're gonna run it back. We'll see. So it's a wild time to be here in 2025. But Dunny, we got to get going here. This is a great show. Thank you
Yeah,
guys
for
all
sure.
for tuning around. Thanks, AJ. Yeah, that was only the start of the bane of my existence. So I appreciate you hopping on the Warriors bandwagon at that time. I'm not traumatized at all by those years. So we're leaving now. This I don't need. We don't need any more. We ended this really poorly for us, Dunny. Like we were really mean to ourselves here at
Yeah.
the end. So you know what? We're gonna have a nice weekend. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. We'll be back next week, and there will be a lot of basketball for us to talk about when we're all together next week.
Yes, there
We'll be
will.
damn close to the NBA Finals. So stay tuned with us, lock in, and then right after this on Train X Sports, it will be the Wrestle with Emotion show. So stay tuned for that. So thank you, Dunny. Thank you everybody for tuned in. This is Jake Micah. Have a great night, folks.
Later, guys.